Are you a type plotter?
I am, yes. I write an outline. I write a chapter outline, but I do change the outline as I go, as it needs to be changed, because sometimes characters take us on directions we don't plan. And I never want to be shackled to an outline. So even though I do outline and I do know where the story is going and where I want it to end, I will tweak the outline as I'm writing um, to fit where the characters take me.
Does that create any additional complications now that you are involving other folks that are eager, that are excited, that okay, we're definitely going to have one of Erin's newest, so we gotta make sure we got a spot in the market. And like, bad news, I just had an idea that's going to take an extra year to finish this. Does that complicate things that way?
It hasn't yet, and I think because whenever I involve my agent and editor, I'm giving them kind of like a sweeping synopsis. You know what I mean? I don't share the outlines with them. So after I share the synopsis and the summaries, and then I move forward with my drafts, they don't see anything about the work again until I finish a draft, and then I share the draft with them. And usually the heart of the story hasn't changed that much. If I'm writing a coming of age story, it's still going to be that. So I haven't run into that trouble just yet, but I try not to involve them in the actual drafting of the book process because I think that would throw me off a little bit. It would, I feel like if you share work too early, it can, depending on what kind of writer you are, it can muddle things sometimes, depending on what kind of feedback you get. So I keep it close. I share it with my writing partner, Sharon, that I just mentioned, but I don't share it with my agent and editor until the draft is done.
Yeah, just so Sharon's the first person to read everything.
Yes, and my partner, Dan.
Gotcha. And then, so they read it, then they say, Erin, this is your best yet, or oh my God, what were you thinking?
Yes.
And then, based on their feedback, do you make tweaks and then send it off?
Yes. So there's with the fantasy, because it was my first foray into fantasy, my editor sent back, I mean, pages and pages of questions and concerns. And that book had to be almost revised from beginning to end several times. So that process, I would say on average, each of my books have been revised probably, I would say 4 to 6 times, pretty heavily from start to finish before it goes into copy edits, before it reaches those last stages of grammatical errors and punctuation and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's a process.
I mean, at this point, knowing that you're going to have copy editors and everybody else pour through it, do you wouldn't want to turn in a sloppy manuscript. I'd never suggest such a thing. But do you sweat the commas and the periods and that stuff as much?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, honestly, people may think that this is a wild thing to say, but they do send me the manuscript so that I can approve or review every change, no matter how small. But there's times when I just almost want to say, you know what, just make the changes. I don't mean like structural changes. I mean like, they're very meticulous, right? And copy editors, I don't know how they do it, but um, do you mind if we replace the em dash here with a comma? Do you mind if we use this word instead of that word for like grammatical, consistency? And I have to go through and sign off on all of them. And part of me just wants to say, just do all of them, because it's so tedious. And half the time, I mean, like 99.5% of the time, the copy editor is correct anyway. So, because they're not changing the cadence of the sentence or anything, it's usually something small and grammatical, which is definitely not, my number one forte. But I'll tell you what, though, going through all those little comments and notes has made me a better writer, because then I think about them the next time I'm drafting, right? Because I remember, oh yeah, that this is, it's not supposed to be lay, it's supposed to be lie, or whatever it is.
Good for you. I get notes from my editor like, still haven't caught this yet, huh? No. don't think it's going to happen.
Well, forget it. I mean, I'll never know the difference between lie, lay, and lies or whatever. So now I just don't have anyone laying, you know. That's how I fix that problem.
I've got a long list of just known brain farts where I'm not going to catch this stuff. It's always going to slip through. So let's just do a search and replace for all these things. Protect me from me.
Yeah. I think the thing that I get dinged on the most is word echoes. You know, when you kind of use the same words a lot of times on the same page or in the same paragraph. But you know what? I mean, that's what the copy editors are for, to help you figure that stuff.